Hello, first graders, and welcome back to the finale of Zombies Don't Play Soccer. Last time we read chapters 9 and 10, and we found out that zombies, their weakness is salt. And so the Bailey School Kid gang came up with this idea to feed Coach Graves salty peanuts to try and get her to go back to normal so that they can win their game against the Sheldon Shooters, which is coming up very soon. And so let's just hop right into it because I'm so excited to finish reading this book. So chapter 11 is called Salt Free. Melody marched down the sideline and stopped right in front of Coach Graves. "I brought you a snack," she said, holding out the peanuts. "Want some?" "No, thank you." Coach Graves spoke in a flat voice, almost like a moan. "But you have to eat some," Melody told her. "They're good for you." "Not hungry," Coach Graves mumbled. "Just try a few peanuts," Melody suggested. "Then we can play soccer." Coach Graves barely nodded. Then she held out her hand and let Melody shake a few peanuts into her palm. Then she popped them in her mouth and chewed. Melody held her breath, but nothing happened. Coach Graves blinked once, but that was all. "I thought you said peanuts would cure the coach," Liza whispered. "My cousin told me salt would do the trick," Melody sniffed. "It's the only thing that cures zombies. I don't know what went wrong." "Let me see something," Howie said. He handed Melody his potato chip bag so he could take the peanut jar. "Here's the problem," he told them. The three friends crowded close to see where Howie pointed. There, in big red letters, it said "Salt Free." "Smooth move, peanut brain," Eddie laughed. "Did you forget how to read?" "Leave her alone," Liza told him. "Everybody makes mistakes." "Besides, we don't have time to argue," Howie warned. "It's time to practice." The rest of the team was waiting for them, so Melody dropped Howie's potato chips on the bench next to Coach Graves and jogged onto the field. Liza, Howie, and Eddie followed her. "This is our last chance before the big game," Melody said, grabbing the ball from Huey. So listen to me, and I'll tell you what to do." Huey snatched the ball back. "We don't have to listen to you." "Melody does know more about soccer than the rest of us," Liza said. "Maybe she can give us some pointers." Oh, and here's a picture. Picture of her giving Coach Graves some peanuts. "She's not the coach," Huey said. "We should do what the coach says." "Who needs a coach?" Eddie interrupted. "Let's just play ball." Then he bopped the ball out of Huey's hands and kicked it down the field. The entire team chased the ball, but Eddie got to it first. He kicked, but he missed and his foot kicked the air. He ended up sitting down hard on the ground. Nobody had time to laugh, because Melody swooped over to the ball and dribbled it down the field. Huey could only think of one way to stop her. He dove at her feet and tackled her to the ground. "No fair!" Melody screamed. Nobody listened because they were already chasing after the soccer ball. Howie was almost to the ball when Liza darted in front of it. Liza sent the ball sailing down the field. Howie screamed, "You kicked the wrong way!" That started everybody yelling. Melody shoved Huey and Eddie pushed everybody who got in his way. "Stop!" Howie stood in the middle of the field, yelling loud enough for everyone to hear. Huey was right. We should listen to Coach Graves. The rest of the team glanced over to the bleachers. Coach Graves stared right through them, as if she couldn't see a thing. "How can we listen to her when she doesn't talk to us?" Eddie snapped. "She tried to teach us," Liza said softly. "We just wouldn't listen." Howie nodded. "We should play just like Coach Graves taught us. She told us to remember teamwork wins games. It's our only chance at winning against the Sheldon Shooters." "Do you think it's possible?" Melody asked. "Anything is possible," Howie said softly, "even zombies." So the Bailey Boomers practiced together all afternoon, trying to play just as Coach Graves had taught them. After 2 hours, they were exhausted and ready to go home. As they straggled from the field, Howie stopped his friends. "I have to get my potato chips," he said. Eddie, Liza, and Melody waited for their friend to grab the bag from the bleachers. Howie crumpled the empty bag. "Who ate my chips?" he grumbled. "Not me," Liza said. "I wouldn't touch those yucky things," Eddie told him. Melody pointed. "There's the potato chip culprit." The four friends looked just in time to see Coach Graves pop the last chip into her mouth. I wonder if those potato chips had salt on them. The last chapter is chapter 12, which is called Wake the Dead. The next day, the kids were on the field at 1 o'clock sharp in their bright blue Bailey Boomers uniforms. Their knees started shaking when the Sheldon shooters trotted onto the field in their black and gold uniforms. "They're huge," Liz squealed. "They're elephants," Howie gulped. "We're dead," Eddie said, shaking his head. Melody put her hands on her hips. "Don't talk like that. We're just as good as they are. Let's go out there and show those shooters how to play soccer." "All right," the Boomers yelled. Melody got the opening kick, but that was the last time the Boomers saw the ball. The shooters scored 2 goals right away. There's them playing soccer. "I guess we really showed them," Eddie told Melody at halftime. "We need the coach," Huey complained and rubbed a sore ankle. "They're running all over us." The kids looked at the coach. She was sitting on the bleachers staring into space. Melody shook her head. "We've tried everything. She even ate Howie's salty chips." "Not everything," Liza said, taking a drink of water. "What's left?" Eddie asked. "Remember how the coach said that soccer is exciting enough to wake the dead?" Liza asked. Howie, Melody, and Eddie and the rest of the team nodded their heads. "Well," said Liza, "let's wake her up. Let's play like we've never played before." "All right," the team hollered and raced back onto the field. The Bailey Boomers got the ball and headed towards their goal. Eddie passed it to Melody. "Go for it," Liza screamed. Melody zipped past a huge Sheldon Shooters player and kicked the ball into the goal. "All right," Howie shouted. "We're doing it." He looked over to the bleacher. For a minute, he thought he saw Coach Graves smiling, but when he looked again, she was staring off into space. "Let's go," Eddie hollered as the shooters kicked the ball back into play. Melody stole the ball and dribbled it toward the goal, but she was quickly surrounded by huge Sheldon Shooters players. "Pass it," Howie screamed. Melody booted the ball to Huey, and with one strong kick, Huey knocked the ball past the goalie and scored. Now it was 2-2. "Yes!" Liza screamed, and the whole team jumped up and down. Excuse me. Eliza looked at the bleachers. The coach was clapping, but before Eliza had a chance to tell anybody, play started again. Melody stole the ball again, but this time a huge Sheldon Shooters player stuck his foot out in front of her. "No fair," Eddie shouted. "That's tripping." Melody fell to the ground and didn't get up. The referee whistled for a free kick. "Are you all right?" Liza asked. Melody shook her head. "I think I twisted my ankle. You'll have to finish the game without me." "We can't do it without you," Huey told her. "You're our best player." Melody smiled. "Yes, you can. Just remember what the coach told you about teamwork." The Boomers nodded their heads and helped Melody off the field. In just a few seconds, the shooters almost scored a goal. Eddie blocked the shot just in time. Howie booted the ball all the way down by the Sheldon goal. Liza was standing there in her position. She was so surprised to see the ball coming her way, she ducked. The ball bounced right off her head and into the goal. "You did it! We shot down the shooters!" Melody screamed as the referee's whistle signaled the end of the game. But Melody wasn't the only one screaming. The players looked at the bleachers. Coach Graves was cheering for the team. The old lady was there too, but she didn't look happy, especially when Coach Graves grabbed her and twirled her in a bear hug. "That was great soccer playing. I told you I could make a winning team out of the Bailey Boomers, Grandma," Coach Graves shouted. "I can't go back to New Orleans now. Hurrah for the Bailey Boomers. Just wait until our next practice. We'll practice so hard those other teams won't stand a chance." Melody, Liza, Howie, and Eddie looked at each other. "Uh-oh," Liza whispered. "Maybe we should have left her a zombie." And then here is Coach Graves hugging her grandma. Well, and that is the end of the Bailey School Kids Zombies Don't Play Soccer. Now, I told you I already had a book picked out for our next read aloud. So, starting tomorrow, we're going to read Junie B. First Grader, Aloha Ha, which is a fun little summer springtime themed book. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right? Have a great rest of your day.